Good afternoon, church. No. The way you speak, I feel like you want to put me to sleep. We must be alive, right? We are not a dying church. Christ is out of the tomb, but you are still in the tomb. Why? I will greet you this one last time. And when you greet me, please, I want to see a church that is alive. And please make sure, do this when you greet me. Give me your very, 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 very best smile. And I'll also try to give you my best smile. So look at my smile and don't miss that beautiful smile. And I want to see your smile too. And if you don't smile, guess what? I will call your name. And I'll ask you, why are you not smiling? And you will tell the church why you're not smiling, okay? Good afternoon, church. Good afternoon, church. Don't you feel good when you are in a church that is alive and vibrant? Do you like a boring priest? Yes or no? It seems like you like boring priests. I hate boring parishioners. I like when a church is alive. And we have to be a church that is alive because we have God in our life. And if we have God in our life, that's the only thing that will help us to bring people back to church. A lot of young people say to me that, Father, I don't like church because church is boring. And it's true. Church is boring most of the time because of you and because of priests at times. You're making a black man to blush. It's not good. The church must be alive because when you have Christ in your life, you have everything. And when you have everything, you must be joyful. There is no way you can tell people to come to church when you yourself are not happy. You must be alive in order for people to come to church. The priest must be on fire. I am always on fire. And I hope my fire comes down on all of you. But I pray to God that my fire should not burn you down, okay? That's my prayer for you. And my brothers and sisters in the Lord, why must we always be happy? Why must we always be joyful? And we have to be joyful because God is with us. God is in us. And God died for us. And the gospel this weekend is saying this. A man came to Jesus and said, what must I do to go to heaven? And what Jesus said to him was, what do you know about the road to heaven? What do you think you need to do? And he said, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your being. And you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I want to preach about this, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. We live in a world where people don't love themselves. And because we don't love ourselves, it's hard for us to love our neighbor. A lot of people say things like this to me. Father, it's not a good thing to have gray hair. Father, it's not a good thing to be old. And I always say this to them. How many young people do you know who die every day without ever seeing a single gray hair on their head? It means that if you have gray hair and you're aging, see that as a blessing from God. In fact, when you wake up every morning, what you should say is, God, thank you for the gray. And somebody even told me that, Father, you'll be very handsome with gray hair. Guess what my prayer is now? God, make me handsome by giving me lots of gray hair. At times also, people say things like this to me. Father, I don't like my house. Father, I don't like my family. Father, I don't like my husband. I don't like my wife. I can't stand my husband. I can't stand my wife. Do you know how many people would like to have a husband or a wife like the one that you have? Don't ask me to give you the name of those people. At times, people also say this. Father, it's difficult for me to raise my kids. I'm tired of my kids. Do you know how many people have a lot of money, but they cannot have children? But you're blessed because God has given you children. And in order for you to love your neighbor, you must first of all see all the gifts that God has given you. And when you see all those things that God has given you, then you'll be able to say to God, I thank God that I was born in America. I'm from Cameroon, and I'm standing in front of you to beg for money. It's never a good idea to beg for money, right? Have you ever done fundraising? And you're begging people to buy something. At times, they don't want to buy. At times, they are mean. At times, they are very good. And I'm standing in front of you to beg for money. I know. Your pastor told me you're very generous. Your bishop also sent me here because he said, people of this church are very nice and generous. I will see if your pastor was right. I will also see if your bishop did not make a mistake by sending me here. But I know your pastor and your bishops, they are all loving people. And before I say what I want to say to you today, as you learn how to love your neighbor, first learn how to love your pastor. Love your pastor, pray for him, and support him. Don't spend your time criticizing him. You have never been a priest, and you don't know what it is to be a priest. It's not easy to be a priest. I'm talking to you because I'm a priest. You can see that, right? That I'm a priest, a young priest, too, with energy, right? I'm from Cameroon, and I'm here to talk to you about the poor people in Cameroon, because the second collection will go to help the people from Cameroon. I want to talk to you about children in Cameroon who have no access to clean water. Can you imagine something like water? People still die in the 21st century because they have no clean water. And I'm standing here before you to beg you to help me give water to 2,000 people. Imagine every time these people would drink this water because of the donation that you gave. Do you think you can miss heaven if you did something like that? Do you think you miss heaven if you give like you have never given before? Do you think you miss heaven if you give to people you will never meet in your whole life? Maybe the people you will probably meet someday in heaven. A lot of young children also have to wake up every day, early in the morning. They walk so many miles to get water to drink. At times, this water is not clean water. I have buried many young babies, beautiful souls who died because their parents fed them with dirty water. And I said to myself today, I will not be ashamed to tell you that I'm here because I want you to join me in making the world a better place. But we cannot make the world a better place unless you learn to love yourself the way you are. If you don't see that your life has a meaning, if you feel like you're a useless person, Christ would not have died on the cross for you. If he died for you, it means you have a price and a value in the eyes of God. Another thing that we do also in Cameroon is not just to give water, but we also try to give education to young people, especially young girls. Most parents in Cameroon feel like young people, especially young girls, they don't need education, and we think it's not fair. And I know that you think also that is not fair. And we have to make a world where everybody is happy, where everybody can have access to education, where young people can know how to read and write. We also help single mothers to start a small kind of business where they can take and provide, that helps them to provide for their families. And all these goals, all these things that we want to achieve, all these things are not possible unless you do something to make the world a better place. Let us all together put our hands together to help poor people in Cameroon so that they also can stay alive. I can see some of your faces, the way you look at me. It seems like you want to say to me this, Father, and I can see somebody having this question in his mind. Some of you want to ask me this question. Do you want to know the question? Do you want to know what it is that some of you want to ask me? Do you want to know? I'm talking to the church. I'm not talking to one person. I'm talking to all of you looking at me. If there's somebody who should be shy here, it's me. Because all of you are looking at me with beautiful eyes, with questioning eyes, with eyes that don't know what is happening, and with eyes also that are saying, I can hear your funny accent. I see all those eyes in you. So I'm talking to you. I'm not shy. I'm on fire. Do you want to know the question that some of you have for me? Okay, this is the question. Some people want to ask me this question. Father, in the second collection, do you also accept checks? Oh, yes, we do. We also accept checks. I will end with this story. I know as I'm preaching, some people are tempted. It's always a temptation every time a priest is preaching. Some people are always tempted to check the time and to look at the watch and say, we hope Father does not speak for the next 10 minutes. I'm done with my homily. Don't fall into that temptation. It's a very bad temptation, okay? I want to end with this story of a child called Mary. Mary is a very young girl, very active, but Mary has an issue. Mary is sick. She needs a surgery. And I remember when I was in Cameroon, Mary came to see me with her parents, and they were all weeping because Mary was diagnosed with this cancer, and she needs a surgery, and they have no money for that. And as this young girl, 6 years old, was talking to me, she was asking me all these questions about heaven, asking me what will happen when she dies and stuff like that. And I said to her, Mary, don't think about dying. You will not die. You will live. We will do all that we can to make you stay alive. And I promised Mary that when I come to do mission appeals in the US this year, I will share her story with you. And I know that somebody will be moved by this story and want to do something. And I also know that you want to prove your pastor right, that you're generous people, right? Right? Yeah. So let's do something for Mary, and let's do something for all these poor people. I want you to know, as I'll be leaving your church on Monday, that I love you. In fact, I'm in love with you. And I want you to be on fire all the time. Please, never forget this. If you forget everything that I said today, remember these things. And I'll ask you questions, and you will answer me. And I want the church to answer me. Do you need a PhD to smile? No. Do you need a PhD to smile? No. Do you need a PhD to be kind to the person next to you? No. Do you need a PhD to learn that it's bad to curse when you're driving? We don't need a PhD to do all these things. Why is it that we don't like smiling? Why do you spend a day without you smiling? Look at how beautiful you are when you smile. I see the church filled with light because of the smile that comes out of you. Look at the smile. Look at the beauty. I see God in every face that I look at in this church. Please, don't let that smile die. Share it every day. And as you share that smile, remember that as a church, we have to remain alive. I don't want this church to be closed, because a lot of churches are closed in America. Guess what? Because the pews are empty. Where are the people? They don't come here because you don't smile because of you. If you learn how to smile, if you want, try it today. Smile now. And let's see next week if this church will not be filled with people, okay? Okay? Deal? God bless you.